Hello, YouTubers, and welcome back to another episode of the Grandstand here on the Ohio Patriot Education Network YouTube channel. I'm, as always, your host, AR the Ohio Patriot, and obviously, this is the new home for the time being of Open, mostly because of the fact with the channel strike and the main account and stuff like that, and issues there is what it is. I can't technically get that unlocked again right now for the time being, so it is what it is. But yeah, we'll figure it out at some point here. So basically for today's episode, I want to talk about a couple of different topics, specifically relating to Second Amendment stuff. And this was a fascinating conversation I had about probably 2 hours ago, give or take, with the Spectrum guy that came to fix my internet today is what it was. And yeah, it was a really, really interesting conversation we had because it basically got to, I forget exactly how it started, but then it basically led to him telling me a story about one of the tech guys that worked for the company and how they got fired today because it was safety stuff or whatever the case be. And then he was mentioning about how he couldn't carry on the job after the fact, and I'm just like, that's interesting. And yeah, it led to like this whole conversation of just like us, shooting the shit and potentially making a new friend today. Actually, what it was. So, because I told him straight up, I was like, yeah, man, if you ever want to hang out or something like that, just give me a call. So, and he has the number obviously because he just write it down what it would be then. But yeah, he seemed like a pretty good dude, and yeah, just very, very interesting conversation overall. And like I said, just very enlightening, honestly. And really, it comes down to being the fact that and I've said this many, many times on these things. Like truthfully speaking, man, like some people's lives are a lot more important than other people's lives. And if you're going to sit there and be the criminal element that's going to try to kill somebody for, a car or whatever the case be, or you're just some psycho that wants to go shoot a school up, whatever the case he mentioned to me as well was about his wife works for one of the school systems around here. I'm not going to mention it by name, obviously. I do happen to think it is one of the ones that doesn't allow you to supposedly carry, though. Yeah, I don't give a fuck. Like, she's carrying as a teacher is what it is there. And I'm just like, good on you, bro. Protecting your own is what it is there. And explaining to me like this whole situation, and I think honestly, like going forward, if and when I'm able to get stuff done here for the network, and we're actually able to do what needs to be done to do certain things when it comes to two-way related courses and stuff here, I think most likely what I'm going to end up doing here actually is I'm going to create a system for teaching people, and it basically falls back to what I call Quinn's system. I'm not sure what this guy's name is, but I'm calling him Quinn for the time being because he kind of looked like a Q, honestly. But yeah, I'm going to call it Quinn's system, basically. And what it would be is you're essentially teaching people how to shoot, but you're not teaching them how to shoot. What you're teaching them is how to do things correctly before they even fire a gun, which is basically the breaking down process of the firearm and learning the ins and outs of the gun is what it is there. And this is especially practical for kids, I believe, because that's what this guy was telling me. He was basically saying about how, we had like this 15-minute conversation or so, give or take. And he was explaining to me like, oh yeah, because he was saying about his grandpa was the one that taught him how to shoot and stuff. He's like, yeah, before grandpa even let me touch a gun, he was basically forcing me to do like a breakdown of the firearm and then, how to put it back together, how to clean it, etc. And then from there, it was basically teaching him how to actually shoot the gun after the fact, after he knew the ins and outs of the machine is what it was there, which I think is a good idea, honestly. And I think that's how a lot of people, it's very visual effect, honestly, on that one, because it shows people how to, do things the correct way. But at the same time, it's also teaching them, the ins and outs of something. And for some people, like myself specifically, we don't learn through the whole, like, book smarts kind of thing is what it is, or whatever it is there you want to call it there. We tend to learn through visuals, especially with me and the autism and stuff like that. I tend to learn through visuals. And I think a lot of people do too, for that matter, especially men, in many cases. Some cases women do too as well, but I think for them it's more, it's like a 50-50, honestly, on that one. But the entire point of the matter I'm making is, though, is you have these people who, some have the ability to do things, some don't have the ability to do things, whatever it is there. And I think, honestly, like in this guy's case, what he was mentioning is how, you have these people that will sit there and like fuck around or whatever the case be. And then I'm trying to remember what the quote was he said to me. It was something about 90% of gun owners. And then he said like 10% or whatever it was, the other thing. And I want to say it was something like, I think his quote was something like 90% of gun owners are just good people and just want to, live their lives like every day or whatever it is, or something like that. And, they're just carrying in case of like, being robbed or being, whatever the case be there. And it's either 10% that are going to be the ones that are, the criminal element of the country and stuff like that is what it is. And I think he's right about that, honestly. So, yeah, it was very interesting. But then what I thought was really interesting, too, about the whole thing was him talking about, the wife and stuff like that. Because he's like, yeah, these kids these days are just fucking nuts and, shooting up schools and stuff like that. And the thing is, it's like, it's not even just kids anymore, dude. Like, it seems like it's adults legitimately will go in there and, it's not even like a school if that be the case. It could be like a fucking Walmart or a Target or something like that. That's what it is, dude. Or like a Walgreens or some shit. It's just people looking for a gun-free zone to go kill people with. And then I was mentioning to him, obviously, about, me being a 2A advocate and activist and everything else like that. And it's, it was because of myself and other people. Like I was a huge, like basically saying about how big of a part I actually played in Second Amendment sanctuary, or not Second Amendment sanctuary, in constitutional carry becoming a thing here almost 2 years ago now. And then we were also talking about other stuff as well, for that matter. And yeah, it was a very fascinating conversation, and I thought it was very, very good. And it was nice to have a conversation with that was a fellow, 2A guy is what it was though. But yeah, he was mentioning to me about, I guess, there was a dude who used to work for Spectrum there, who does not anymore because as of this morning, this guy went full retard. And I guess what it's supposed to be is when they're up on the cable lines working on the cable and the internet and stuff like that, they apparently had introduced like some kind of a system, which I think is like an OSHA system or something like that is what it sounded like to me, honestly. And what it's supposed to be is you put the ladder up, you clip yourself. I think it's between like it's on like the ladder, but it's also like to the pole somehow or something, I think is what it is. So if something happened, you like tend to fall, like you're just gonna like swing and shit like that, like off the ladder a little bit, but not much. And so I guess apparently this guy, he had done the ladder up, he had started walking up it or whatever the case be, and had apparently not tethered himself properly to the pole or whatever it was there, and had apparently this is something like, from my understanding, I guess this was in the Cleveland area or something like that there. And he was saying about how he's like, yeah, the guy he like realized he forgot like a tool or something he needed from the truck. So he was starting to walk back down the ladder, ended up having the loose ass tether thing go like flinging somehow. And it just like, cause it was obviously because of the wind today is what it was. Cause it's super windy here today is what it was. And yeah, I guess the wind caught him or something. And it like flung his ass off the ladder. And he went hood first and windshield first into some random person's car. And it's like, ooh, that's going to be a write-up for sure. And then he's like, yeah, he got fired for that one for sure. Because, yeah, Spectrum doesn't fuck around when it comes to safety stuff. And then that's when he brought up the fact of, like, not being able to carry on the job and actually having a CCW and stuff like that's what it was. And I thought it was very interesting when he said that to me because I'm like, that's interesting. And, yeah, he was saying about how he went to go get his, like, concealed carry, like, a couple years ago or whenever it was there. And how he's kind of bullshit that they're like, screwing him over and screwing everybody else over that actually has these things. And then I was mentioning him like, it's kind of a moot point at this point because, we're a constitutional carry state now is what it is. So it really shouldn't even matter. And he was saying the same thing, honestly, about it being like, constitutional carry, open carry, whatever the case be. And I think that's the problem though with our society is what it is, dude. And I get like from the perspective of, like the everyday people and stuff like that, like maybe you don't want somebody in your house that's like carrying on the job, whatever the case be. But the thing is, it's like, unless you would be like legitimately patting this person down, which is a violation of their rights before they would come into your home, like pretty sure you're not going to know if they're carrying or not, dude. So it doesn't really matter, honestly. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, just like the whole thing just seemed fucking retarded. At least from my perspective of things when I was, listening to him talk about this stuff and whatnot. about how it's like, yeah, you know, you can't carry on the job, whatever the case be. And he was basically telling me straight up, he's like, yeah, I used to, you know, for a little bit after they instituted this policy or whatever the case be. And then one of the other guys got pinched. And then that's basically when he stopped carrying is what it was. So it makes logical sense from that perspective of things to, you know, not be carrying and stuff like that if you're, you know, potentially going to risk, you know, getting fucked over by your employer or whatever it is there, which I don't know, man. Like, I very much am in this class of, you know, it becomes a whole thing of like, okay, is it more important for your safety, or is it more important that the corporate motherfucker who's trying to fuck you over, who's never been in the field and doesn't get it, for them to be like, oh, we feel so good with this policy, yo? Because that's what it kind of sounded like, honestly. Like, that's what he was basically explaining to me, too, is how it's like, yeah, it's these guys in these corporate offices that have never been in the field or whatever the case be. And he's like, there's a lot of places we go. And basically what he was saying was the hood is what it was. And he's like, yeah, there's some sketchy ass places, you know, downtown Canton. He was telling me about one of their guys up in Cleveland there, about how this guy, like, about 6-8 months ago got jacked and stuff at gunpoint by a bunch of fucking, you know, gangbanging pieces of shit is what it was, dude. And the really fucked up part about that story was, from what he was explaining to me, was that dude, they had taken his cell phone and his wallet, and then as they were leaving, like, I guess the one guy turned around, he's like, you know what, give me your fucking keys too, and they stole his fucking, they stole his actual Spectrum vehicle. And I'm like, what the fuck? So I'm gonna have to look this story up to see if it actually became headline news or not, dude, because I think it probably had to at that point, you know. Like, it wouldn't surprise me if it did, man. Again, that's Justin Bibb's fucking, you know, Democrat hell pocket there. So it's like, who's to blame? It's the fucking idiocy of both the corporate entity people there, but it's also the stupidity of the fucking actual assholes who lip them at this bullshit and then fucking wonder why their people get fucked up and stuff like that, you know? Like, it's really not okay, man, honestly. And that's the real problem with our society currently is what it is, dude. It's these people that want to sit there and implement dumbass policies while not actually being in the field themselves and seeing this shit firsthand is what it is, man. And then you wonder why you have, like, you know, backlash from your employees, which honestly, I feel like this whole thing, like, truthfully speaking, I feel like this entire thing could easily be solved in one quick shot is what it would be, which would literally be all that are working for the company is like techs and stuff. If they just said, you know what, fuck it, we're not going to go to these fucking shithole areas, dude, unless we're able to carry on the job. And I guarantee if you had, you know, 20, 40, 50, 100 techs like that show up and be like, yeah, we're going to protect ourselves as much as possible, dude. We're not going into some fucking dangerous ass area being unarmed and stuff like that. I guarantee that corporate policy would change immediately is what it is. And I think that's the problem right now with our society currently is you have so many people who don't understand that, yes, the power is in fact in your hands, dude. Like, you have the ability to sit there and just say no. You know, it's all the people, it's like the same exact thing with the people that didn't, you know, that just sort of like, you know, bent over and took it when it came to fucking, you know, taking experimental bullshit a couple years ago. And it's like, dude, that was just stupid. Like, no, you could have easily, you know, lockstepped and unionized and stuff like that, basically, against these corporate entities, against these scumbag ass corporations like that, and been like, no, we're not going to put up with this shit. We're not going to fucking, you know, do whatever here. And if they did that and they were willing to risk it, I think you would see a different outcome in this country very quickly is what it is, man. And I think that's what we need to have right now, honestly, in this nation is whether it be, and this is another thing too, by the way, because I was mentioning to him and stuff, how my brother used to do Uber for a little bit there and about their dumbass policy about not carrying on the job. And yet they wonder why all their, you know, drivers keep getting killed in these major cities like Washington, D.C., et cetera, there, or get, you know, carjacked or whatever it is by like a bunch of fucking gangbangers and shit, dude. And the thing about that is it's like, dude, in the first place, when it like, and I understand with like Spectrum and stuff like that, or like, you know, internet service providers like Comcast would be then and stuff like that, dude, like it makes sense to have those corporate policies in place because technically you're actually employee of the company then. Like, I'm not saying it's good to have them in place, obviously. What I'm saying is I understand like the reasoning for them to be in place there is what it is. And my thinking is, though, with that whole situation and aspect of things is what it is there, is it's people who, like, there's a huge difference between that and the people who would be like an independent contractor for like an Uber or a Lyft or whatever the case be, because people don't realize about those rideshare services, dude. With the rideshare services, you're using your own vehicle, obviously, and you're not an employee of that company. You're an independent contractor that is being contracted out to be used as a driver for that company. So yeah, for them to sit there and tell you that in your own vehicle or whatever it is that you can't fucking, carry in your vehicle or whatever the case be, it's like, no, you can fuck right off, dude, entirely on that one. So yeah, I think that's the biggest problem right now with our society currently is people like in that kind of situation that don't want to actually carry or whatever the case be, because they're like, oh, I don't want to, don't want to fuck over my employment here or whatever the case be. It's like, dude, okay, here's the deal. Would you rather, quote unquote, fuck over your employment where you can literally sue the shit out of these people for wrongful termination, etc. later on? Or would you rather be the dumb motherfucker who sits there and has your livelihood, and not only your livelihood, but your life potentially taken in the situation because you weren't carrying? Like, I don't know about anybody else, man, but if that's me and I'm in that situation, like, I'm the fucking guy that's like, nah, bitch, like, I'm going to be carrying however the fuck I want to carry. Because even this employee guy that I was talking to here today, like, he straight up admitted to me, he's like, yeah, I'm still carrying a knife and stuff like that on me for personal protection. And then he specifically stated after that, he's like, yeah, it doesn't matter, like, if they say anything about it, like, it's like, yeah, it could be the fucking tool I'm using for the job and stuff, dude. And that's the whole thing entirely, dude. And I guarantee a lot of people do that stuff, honestly, dude. I mean, hell, I do that all the time is what it is. Myself, when I'm out there, in random places where I can't carry legally is what it is. Like, I'll sit there and still carry a knife on me and stuff like that because, again, it's legitimately a fucking tool at the end of the day, but it's also could be used for anything, dude. It could be used for cutting down a box or something like that. And as long as, like, this is the thing, too, by the way, and this is one suggestion I give to everybody out there, dude, never tell the cops that you're carrying a knife for personal protection because they will fuck you in the ass on that one. And specifically, it is a situation of them not needing to know jack shit is what it is, and you actually having a better position yourself if that be the case then. Whereas if you're telling them you're carrying for personal protection kind of stuff, they could actually jack you up with a charge. Whereas if you're just simply carrying to carry or whatever the case be, because you have it, for, like I said, to cut down boxes or open, whatever the case be, hell, you open a fucking piece of mail or something, for God's sakes. Similar to a letter opener is what it would be then. And yeah, as long as you're having in that position and stuff like that, you're good to go, man. Like, you're golden. The problem is that it's the people who don't want you to be in that situation that will tend to fuck you over is what it is. And it's the jackasses in our society right now who will be, the ones that will sit there and completely fuck you over is what it is there. So yeah, it's a whole thing. But anyway, the entire point of the matter is you have a situation there where, yes, you should be carrying at all times as what it is if you can. And even if you can't, you should still be carrying as what it is, man. Like, I'm really going, I'm trying to remember what the guy's name is now. It's like the 6 of 9 project or 9 of 6 project, something like that's what it is. It's the really big ass ginger bearded dude there who recently was talking about different things and was mentioning about how there's that viral clip of him going around of him basically telling everybody, like, carry wherever they want to carry is what it is, dude, and, like, just risk it, basically. And I feel like that's what many people are doing right now, honestly, dude, in our country currently. And it's because it's these shithole-ass anti-gun laws all across the fucking board right now that are fucking people over, man. And it ain't right at all, man. Like, it's definitely... There is a lot of scumbaggery going on in our country right now, dude, when it comes to all these anti-gun pieces of shit is what it is out there, man. They want to sit there and, like, spew fucking garbage or, push fucking trash, whatever it is there. And then they'll sit there and act as if they're, like, king shit or whatever the case be, or, like, the be-all, end-all, whatever it is there, In reality, they ain't fucking nothing, dude. They're a bunch of ass clown, asshole pieces of shit who are just trying to fuck you over and then lie to your face about stuff, which brings me to a point I was going to make as well in this episode, which is you have this news article coming out from USA Today is what it was here, which is, after a historic year, here are the states with the strongest and weakest gun laws in 2024, And then it goes on to quote the fuckstick dipshits of fucking every town and how they fucking made up some bullshit policies of like, here's our annual report for A grade stuff and then F grade stuff. And then you got the fucking one jackass from every town, Nick Suplinia, who's the senior vice president for law and policy at the fucking asshole thing, claiming, when we look at the rates of gun violence in these states, what we see is a strong correlation between states with gun laws and lower rates of gun violence, and the opposite with states with weak gun laws. You are such a fucking lying sack of shit, Nick. You are such a... I fucking already called your bitch ass out on X, dude, over this shit, because you're such a goddamn bag, dude. And that's the problem right there. It's these fucking asshole lying pieces of crap like that, dude, that'll sit there and lie to your fucking face and be like, oh, the gun law, it's all about the anti-gun laws and pushing anti-gun bullshit again. No, you fucking asshole. Quite literally, as we said the other day on the main channel, there was, and we've talked about it since then as well, for that matter, you have had legitimately Dave Yost, RAG here in Ohio, a year before it and a year after it. You had, oh, was it now? Yeah, they did the studies for the year before Constitutional Care, which is 2021. They did the year of Constitutional Care, which is 2022, and the year after Constitutional Care, which is 2023. And shocker, in 6 of 8 major cities, including Cleveland area there, you had gun crime go way the fuck down. You had so-called gun violence go way the fuck down because, shocker, more people were carrying. Because, shocker, more people weren't having their rights being infringed upon. When you had dumbass fucking cops being like, oh, you're carrying without a license in a vehicle? Oh, well, now you're going to get a mishandling of firearms and a vehicle charge or some other bullshit like that. And it's like, go fuck yourself, pig. Like, seriously. Like, I fucking had it, man, with these oath-breaking sacks of shit, honestly. Legitimately. Like, just across the board anymore. Because there's so many fucking anti-gunner cops, dude. And it's the same, by the way, it's the same fucking assholes. I mentioned that specifically because it's the same fucking assholes right now who are trying to actively fuck over people's rights currently when it comes to Second Amendment Preservation Act that's going through our state house currently right now. So, which, by the way, I've been in favor of since 2019 when they tried to fuck over my rights. That's what it was, dude. I've been a two-way advocate since then. That's what it is, dude. An activist, constitutionalist type, etc. there. And that's the entire point of the matter, is sometimes you just need to do what needs to be done, man. And if that means, you know, kicking ass and taking fucking names, etc., then that means kicking ass and fucking taking goddamn names, dude. And dealing with tyranny the way it needs to be fucking dealt with accordingly. So, yeah, for real. But anyway, that being said, I thought it was very interesting, this conversation I had with this guy. So, and it was very telling, by the way, to know that apparently Spectrum employees can't carry on the job anymore, which they used to be able to. And like he was saying, like, you should be able to, especially in these fucking ghetto-ass areas and stuff like that, dude. You know, when you're going to have your employees potentially robbed at gunpoint, like, when they could easily get the fucking drop on the criminals and be like, haha, bitches, reverse Uno card, bang, bang. So, just like that one video I saw here recently, it was the dude who crept up. There was a guy who was trying to jack his catalytic converter off his vehicle, and the dude pulled a reverse Uno card, jumped in this fucking guy's vehicle, and drove off. Which, for all the fuck we know at that point, it was probably a stolen vehicle he just jumped into, if that be the case, man. Which now he's going to catch a bunch of felonies if he's caught in that car. So there you go. But yeah, that was pretty funny either way. And like I said, it is what it is, man. It's the whole thing. But anyway, yeah, it's like that's a problem though. Honestly, like I said though, it's people who just need to grow a pair is what it is, man, and just realize like, yes, your life is more important than their life is, kind of thing. And like even Quinn was saying, he was like, yeah, man, like, you know, as his CCW instructor told him, he's like, would you rather be carried by 6 or judged by 6? Which in that case it would be 12. It's actually 12 and 6. So that's kind of a misquoting of stuff then, if that be the case. But yeah, and that's the thing, dude. I'd rather be judged by 12 than carried by 6 any day of the week, honestly, man. I'll say it like it is right now. You know, it's like that. It's like what happened a couple years ago here is what it was when I had the house broken into and shit. And it could have easily been a situation where I came home, like, as those motherfuckers are still in my house at the time, and I would have had to open fire on their asses and potentially taken 2 lives in self-defense that day. Would I have had remorse about it? Fuck no, dude, because these fucking pieces of shit were literally breaking into my home to steal my fucking firearms and proceeded to basically find me on the way out, more or less, you know? And it's like, no, dude, like, I 100% would have taken that shot every single day of the week is what it was, man. So, and anybody that says that they wouldn't, you're fucking lying to yourself is what it is, straight up. So, but yeah, honestly, and I've said it before, honestly, with that whole thing, I kind of wish I had been here that day just because, you know, it would have been a situation of them not even, they would have kicked the back door in potentially, and I would have been either awake or, you know, just been woken up from the door kick or whatever the case be, grabbed a fucking most likely shotgun that was sitting by the thing there. And yeah, it would have been fucking game on, bitch. So, needless to say, they wouldn't have made it too far is what it would have been, man. Straight up. So, yeah. But, anyway. But that's the problem right now. You know, you have people fucking around and they want to sit there and act like they're fucking, you know, doing whatever then. And in reality, they're just a bunch of a-holes is what it is, dude. So, I'm still pissed at the Stark County Sheriff's Office at this point, though, for not finding my gun in the last 3 years, man. Or not quite 3 years. It's been about 2.5 years, give or take. But yeah, it's like, it's a long enough time, dude, where it's like, either find my fucking shit or General Assembly pass a fucking piece of legislation where I can literally go after the fucking state at that point for reimbursement of my shit. Which is what needs to be at this point, honestly. So, yeah, it's just very fucking infuriating, honestly, man. And it does become a situation of just fuckery right now. So, anyway. But that being said, that's pretty much right for the day, honestly. I'll be back later at some point here in the future talking more about this. I'm going to talk more about this tonight, actually, in Honda's chat, too, for that matter. Hopefully we can get some more numbers pumped up to the network. Here's what it is then. And then do what needs to be done then. So, but anyway, other than that, that's pretty much right for the day. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I think it was a good one. Very telling, like I said, of current fuckery in our society when it comes to corporations and you know, the stupid ass policies they put in place that actively hurt their own people and stuff. So yeah, just not cool, man. Not cool at all. And especially to, you know, put your field employees in danger like that just because you're some corporate shill is what it is, dude. And just like some fucking, you know, corner office fucking asshole or whatever the case be, making, you know, 6-7 figures a year, whatever the hell it is there. Yet meanwhile, this person that's working that fucking field is lucky if they're making, you know, 25,000-30,000 a year, honestly, doing that tech job and stuff. So, and actually keeping people's shit, you know, functioning and working and stuff like that, which is nice because actually today they changed out, when they changed my modem out and stuff like that, it was not the old modem again, it was one of these new ones now, that instead of it being sideways, it's up and down now, like the router is. So hopefully that'll be good because it means it won't be, you know, as sensitive to breakdowns potentially, because the thing was with the old one that just busted up and stuff recently, that motherfucker was just a piece of crap, dude, for real. Like, if I didn't know any better, I think that was seriously a refurbished one, because, and the reason I say that specifically is because of the fact that looking at it now, you have a situation where the one I had before that was one of their modems. It lasted for like, I think it was either 5 or 7 years before it finally like crapped out then. This last one that they put in was literally just like 7-8 months ago, if even that long. Like, it was not that long ago at all, man. Like, it was legitimately like very, very here recently, where it was either like last spring or last summer at some point, if not even like last fall, maybe. I don't think it was quite last fall, but I think it was legitimately like, yeah, I want to say it was like last spring maybe to last summer. So it would have been like somewhere between like May and like July of last year. So yeah, when you're talking about, like I said, like around 7 to 8 months, give or take at most, and it just breaks down that quickly, like what the fuck, dude? Like that's a shoddy ass piece of equipment if that be the case. And it makes sense logically speaking if it's, you know, a situation where it actually is the fact that it was a refurbished piece of equipment then, to where it was actually like basically had broken down like that before or whatever, with like a fucked up circuit or whatever. And then it proceeded to have like another issue like that too, a second time now, where it was basically just a circuit frying it again, if that be the case or whatever. Because that's what I assume happens what it was then. Because it was weird how it broke down too yesterday. Because it was basically, I was fine. But this is what's really weird too, by the way. So it was fine at like 11 o'clock yesterday morning when I was doing stuff on the computer or on my phone for the game. And then it was legitimately like, I guess, an hour and a half to 2 hours later. So it was like around like 12:30, something like that is when it actually busted down then. And like apparently I guess stopped working or whatever. And when I woke up around like 12:30, 12:45 and was like, well, I don't have internet on my phone and stuff like that. I'm trying to do stuff here or whatever. And then looked over and noticed that the router thing was like blinking red, because that's what it does. It's usually blue, but then it blinks red if it's off or whatever. And I'm like, what the fuck, bro? And then, you know, proceeded to check it out or whatever, and turned out that, like, you know, it wasn't working or whatever. And I'm like, what the fuck? And assumed it was basically just like, you know, fucking probably outage of some kind around here because of the weather and stuff recently. And so I just let it go and went back to sleep for a little while there. And then as it turns out it actually was not that whole thing. It was actually just complete fuckery then. And it was specifically, it had gone completely out entirely and it just stopped working, I guess. Because when I try to redo the modem a couple times and like reset it, basically, it would keep going back to like the first one being lit and the second one being all blinky and shit. Until eventually, like the fourth time I was doing this, I said, okay, you know what, I'm gonna unplug everything, including the router. So I unplug the router, plug this back in, it's fine. Go to plug the modem back in, and the modem is completely dead then. So the only thing I could think is it was something where it had just like a little bit of charge left in there, whatever the case be, to do like the blinkiness or whatever there. And then as soon as I pulled the router shit out and then plugged it in first, I'm guessing the router had yanked any power that was left to the modem at that point or whatever the case be, and was like, nah, it's completely dead now, whatever. And like I said to the tech guy when he came out here today, and he was like, oh yeah, it's definitely, because he was testing it with the little boxing they have with them or whatever it is there. And he's like, yeah, this is totally dead. So, and I told him, I was like, I don't know. Again, I'm not sure if it was refurbished or what it was, but yeah, it was just a shoddy piece of equipment apparently. Because, like I said, last about 6, 7 months, 8 months, maybe at most, and it's just dead. Like that's bullshit, dude, entirely. So, yeah, it is what it is. But like I said, at least it's fixed now. And like I said, potentially, you know, getting in that conversation with him about Second Amendment related stuff, it was nice, and you know, potentially made a new friend out of the whole thing. So that's going to be fun. It's going to be fun times ahead for everybody involved. So, you know, always nice to meet a fellow 2A brother. So, anyway. But, yeah, other than that, though, that's pretty much where we're at for the day. I will be back, like I said, later, probably with a gaming chat or some kind here on this channel, or on the Legacy Anarchy channel. I'm not sure yet what I'm going to do on that. I think maybe I'm going to use Lead Lace now from now on to do, like, gaming chat stuff, and then just use this channel as, like, my main channel for the network now, as it'll be. So, and of course, we just finished taking this scamp that wasn't a whole bunch. Where did I come in on? There is the question. Let's see. So we got, let me see here now, 12th, 15th, and 16th. Looks like we got some new players in the mix now. So we had 22 in this go around. That's good. So let's see. I took 11 through 20s is what it was then. Yeah, it's still not bad though. Yeah, well, the only thing that sucks, honestly, though, is having all this shit happen today is what it was. So now I basically got fucked over out of a bunch of things. And I'm literally like an entire day behind of stuff right now because I missed like 20 hours worth of survival challenge stuff there, which is like 5 of them. I think there's actually a 6th one, if I'm not mistaken, that I missed out on too, if that be the case. So, yeah. Like, it was legit like a whole 24-hour time span then. So it does suck ass on that one. But Plus the fact that we were in a Thriving Forces event too, so I just missed out on like an entire day's worth of shit on that too for things, and now I'm like way behind on it being able to actually get to the 10K, 20K, 30K rewards and stuff. I'll be like if I actually make the 30K this time around on any of the accounts, which sucks ass because, you know, really need to get some of those Andrea fragments. But yeah, it is what it is, man. So anyway, what was I saying? Oh yeah, but yeah. So anyway, so yeah, basically, corporate policies for that are anti-Second Amendment are just a bunch of bullshit entirely, dude. And it's really as simple as that. I'm gonna go ahead and give it an end on that one because somebody is calling me right now. I'm gonna see who that is and get back to them and see what's going on then if that be the case. So, all right, I'll talk with you guys whenever then. Have a good one, y'all, and you know, like we always say here, always be caring because you never know what's gonna happen, man. And it's as simple as that, really. Later, y'all. Bye.